evening, ladies as well as gentlemen. Papa Boris is back for some more Hearthstone Arena action. In this video, we're going to finish off the Warlock run that began in the last video. Got off to a nice 2-0 start. Maybe I'm just racist against Warlocks, but I don't ever feel with a Warlock that I have a particularly great deck, although it has performed decently, given the lack of removal. One thing that's worth noting is that if my opponent had had a FLAMESTRIKE in that last game, she would have either won or would have had a really good chance of winning. Now, granted, she did have the polymorph for my Mountain Giant, which I managed to get out into play. So, she had some answers, just not all of them. X Dream the Rogue. I feel like I've played this person before. This is all of my removal ever. Should I actually... Okay, well, let's not go too crazy here. Let's send back the Drain Life. But rogues do have some stuff I might want to remove, like Defias Ringleader or whatever. Granted, I'm second, so it's not going to come out on turn 1. But let's keep my removal around. I don't have very much of it in this deck, so maybe worth holding on to it. Okay. Mountain Giant, that is... Well, it's a good thing I'm second. As the second player, you do start with a higher number of cards than the first player, because you got the coin plus the extra card. Even if you spend the coin, there's still the extra card as well. So it's nice to be second when you have this thing. It's still kind of hard to play, though. Mad Bomber. Alright, lose the Bomber war there. I think it is absolutely correct to Demon Fire this. As a rogue, you gotta watch your health. What? Okay, as a rogue, you gotta watch your health, especially because their hero ability damages you, and your hero ability damages you. So it's worth being careful. So I'm feeling actually pretty good going into this next turn. If my opponent plays something that a Worgen can own, then I'll play a Worgen. If my opponent plays something that owns a Worgen, I will play Shadow Bolt. Okay, well that seems good. So what I'm going to do here is actually play the Worgen. Yeah, this seems fine. Well, okay, so I could, if I wanted to, coin out a Warden instead. So this is more likely to survive, and then I could try to play the Worgen behind it. You know, and see if I can actually protect it. Right now, if I play the Worgen, my opponent can spend half her mana, dagger up, smack into it, and then kill it with the Sun Fury Protector, and then we get nowhere. We'll try this. We'll see how it goes. I don't know necessarily that this is correct, but I'll give it a shot. This guy's pretty sturdy. I don't imagine Rogue wanting to spend Assassinate on it. So we'll play the Worgen next turn, and then see if we can activate Wind Fury. I missed a chance to win the game early though against that priest by not mortal coiling my own Worgen. It's worth thinking about when you have buffs like Power Overwhelming. Maybe I should make a constructed deck. Worgen Warlocks. Shiv. Interesting choice here. So 2 mana, draw a card. I'm happy about that. Shiv can definitely have more threatening applications. Eviscerate. Wow. Alright, he just had it out for that Warden. So he really just played an Eviscerate to kill it. Shiv kind of replaced itself. Alright, well, good play by my opponent. So, the Flesh-Eating Ghoul and the Raging Worgen will all die to this, plus Dagger. Whom would I rather lose? Well, I'd rather lose the Worgen, because the Flesh-Eating Ghoul is the one that can go really out of control later in the game. Okay, next turn I've got a pretty good drop, so as long as my opponent doesn't play anything kind of massive and awesome here, I'll get ahead. If my opponent does have a good 5 mana play herself, like one of these, or, I don't know, Fen Creeper or something, I'll be in pretty good shape. Alright, 5 cards. What are you going to do? Shiv would have been awesome here. Then the Sun Fury Protector could run in, finish it off. But even just daggering it up is totally fine. What's 3 damage? Valera. Ah, Pine-Sized Summoner. Interesting. And one more card. Defias Ringleader. Oh, okay, I see. So my opponent's flooding the board here. I don't have any mass removal. Warlocks don't have mass removal, other than Shadow Flame. Oh, I actually really wish I had Mortal Coil here. Look at that. Well, here I could run in and hit a creature, turn on Wind Fury. The problem is that if I then play Darkscale Healer and heal this, the Wind Fury actually shuts off. So that's kind of funny. I could play the Flesh-Eating Ghoul, take out 3 creatures total, the Worgen and 2 of his. Get this up to be a 5/3. I can also Shadow Bolt something. Or I could just play this thing down. This thing seems pretty good. Alright, what we're going to do is we're just going to trade 1 creature for 2 of his. That seems alright to me. I want to actually kill the Defiance Ringleader in case he has a Panda later on and brings it back. We'll play this. So I'd say that this owns his board pretty hard. The Squire trades with one of his creatures and then the Silverhand Knight himself kills the other. I also have card advantage against my opponent and my life total is pretty high. So I'd say I won the opening going into the mid-game. This guy's a rather sad number of turns away. The Sea Giant would be a whole lot better. Sea Giant is the one that gets a discount for every creature on the board and only costs 10 to start with. Dark Iron Dwarf is a really good card. Look at that. This is a good illustration of why Dark Iron Dwarf is so good. Now he gets to actually trade his junk for my quality stuff. What are you pointing at? What is he pointing everywhere? Careful where you point that thing, Extreme. Man, this guy is jittery. He's like drunk. Alright, he's going to do the trading. It's fine. I think my next move is actually going to be Flesh-Eating Ghoul Shadow Bolt. Get rid of this 4/4 body. Shiv. That I would say is a stone cold mistake. If my opponent was planning to do that, she should have done it first, before playing a creature and before playing out all her stuff. Okay, yeah, this seems good. So play the Flesh-Eating Ghoul first, then Shadow Bolt. So the reason I didn't want to play this is there's too high of a risk playing this that my opponent will just play a Assassinate on it, and then she has a 4/4 body on the board, and then can start hitting me for 4 damage a turn. 4 damage a turn is not to be underestimated. So I wanted to take the plan that maybe, you know, doesn't put as big of a threat onto the board, but also isn't quite as vulnerable to removal. Rogues can deal with this really easily. Backstab plus dagger would do the job nicely. Head crack. Wow, okay, I'm really happy about that. So my opponent is throwing away 3 mana for absolutely no reason. I will take that quite happily. Oh man, the card bug. It is a problem. Okay, so unfortunately I can't quite deal 4 damage to this without a little bit of luck. This guy costs a rather sad 8 mana, and if I play out all my little stuff, it's going to cost even more. Ugh, that sucks. Well, I could play the Knife Juggler and the Voodoo Doctor. Heal myself, fling a knife, 50-50 shot of hitting this thing, and then I can kill it with my ghoul. Then I would have 4 mana left. So I'll draw a card. Always draw cards. Oh my god! Woo! Pro plays by Papa Boris. This, kids, is why you always draw cards first. Stampeding Kodo is so good. It kills so many good things. Okay. Anyway, that was really good. I feel like every pro play I make probably like erases 2 mistakes I make in my video. That seemed like a fair. Does that seem like a fair deal to you guys? You know, for every 2 careless mistakes get wiped clean from my record. For every drawing cards first equals massive win. My opponent is continuing to waste mana to do absolutely nothing, which I am A-okay with. This head crack is still buggy as hell. I think it's time now to play the Mountain Giant. Let's go ahead and kill that thing. The Flesh-Eating Ghoul, see, I could have taken something else good over this. I forget what it was. Maybe like a Drain Life or something, maybe? But, I mean, you can see here just how huge of an impact it's having on the game. Okay, well, my opponent needs to have an Assassinate for this, but he also needs an Assassinate for this. So I'd say I'm doing pretty good, plus I have healing back in my back pocket. So yeah, seems fine. Everything seems fine here. I would say I won the opening and the mid-game. Now, of course, my opponent could still win, but not if she's going to spend 3 mana every turn head cracking me. Head crack, incidentally, used to only cost Let me see if I can find it here. Headcrack only used to cost 2 mana, and then it was nerfed to now cost 3. I think it was bad even at 2 mana, so... Mortal Coil, well I can't use it. Nothing hits this thing for 4 damage, or rather awkwardly. So, let's think. Basically my opponent's main out at this stage would be a Blade Flurry. So I will actually respect that by not playing into it. Let's go ahead and just drop the biggest thing I have. I'm not going to draw cards. Actually, this comes back after a Blade Flurry. We'll put that out as well. Do I cash in my Flesh-Eating Ghoul, or do I cash in some damage on the Mountain Giant? Well, I think it's important actually to keep my guy as healthy as possible here. Because, if I damaged him and an Assassin's Blade Flurry combo did come out, it would actually, the Mountain Giant would die. As would the Flesh-Eating Ghoul in that case. At this point, though, with the Boulder Fist Ogre, even that wouldn't really save my opponent. Okay, so that's 6 of my opponent's mana. Pretty sure my opponent can't kill me, unless she has, like, 2 Cold Bloods or something? Is that possible? So I could get 8, 12... No, even with Cold Blood, it's not going to work. There's the Rifleman. Okay. Well, I've got this thing swinging for lethal. This would have to be some really damn impressive... One of these is Headcrack, so the other one would have to be a really damn impressive 1-mana card in order for me not to win on the spot. That is not going to do it. That is not going to do it. Kaboom! Well, that was a good game. I feel like I was kind of ahead most of the game, but I gotta give myself some credit there. It wasn't just that I had good cards, but I planned out my whole turn. I realized I was gonna life tap. I life tapped first, and I drew Stampeding Kodo for the Demolisher. Oh my god. Kids, always draw cards first. Always draw cards first. And I think that's what makes the Warlock, or one of the things that makes the Warlock such a hard class to play correctly. And partly maybe why I'm struggling with it. Maybe it has just a higher skill cap than other classes. First of all, you have a lot of self-damaging effects. You've got your hero ability, which damages you, and then a bunch of creatures that damage you. I mean, Warlocks damage themselves. I have to give credit to the designers. Ryan Salerno. I think that's just a dude's name. I don't think that's like a Warcraft name at all. I think it's a guy named Ryan Salerno, and he's playing a mage right now. This isn't actually that good here. I don't want to pick either of these back up. We'll send them back, see what we get. Ugh, okay. Yeah, so Warlocks, they damage themselves. Like, there's stuff that damages their health. They have things that discard their own cards, things that kill their own creatures, things that destroy their own mana crystals. So you can screw up with that, and that's sad. And then also, on top of that, you have to really plan out your whole turn every time you have a turn with more than a small number of mana, and then see if you're gonna life tap at the end of it, and then do that first, because you always want to draw cards first. And that's hard. Like, other classes can kind of get away a little bit on autopilot. Like, being like, oh, I'll just do this and this and this. Oh, I have mana left over for this? Okay, no problem. Whereas Warlocks, like, I've seen people do this, where they will actually just be like, you know, do a bunch of stuff, Oh, I have mana left over, let me life tap. Sure, I guess I'll draw a card, but if you do that all the time, you will lose games because of it. Because you really, ideally, should plan out your entire turn, realize that you're going to life tap at the end of it, and do it first, because that can affect things. I mean, that's what is required for optimum play. So, it's tough. It's tough to play this class. Alright, Mountain Giant. Well, clearly this turn I'm going to life tap, and then play Bloodsail Raider. Now, because the dagger hit this, I'm actually going to swing above my opponent. However, if the dagger had hit my opponent, I would have hit the Shatterskin Cleric herself, because otherwise at 3 toughness, she could have actually killed the Bloodsail Raider. Left with 1 health, and then tried to also trade for the Knife Juggler. So now if she trades with the Knife Juggler, that means I put 3 extra damage on my opponent. Woo! Alright, this time, boy, that secret could be really not a problem or a real big problem. Well, let's see if it's Ice Barrier or Vaporize. Damn it, it's not. I don't really want to give her a Warden. I also don't really want to give her a Harvest Golem. Or a Darkscale Healer, for that matter. Jeez. Well, it's not Ice Barrier or Vaporize. It's really likely to be Mirror Entity now. Okay, what we're going to do is give her a Harvest Golem. It's the cheapest creature of the ones I have. So I'm going to life tap first. That could be good. And I'll play this, see if it's mirror entity. It is. Okay. God. Why is this card always so good for my opponents? I just don't understand. I don't understand. Well, the good news is that next turn, I might be able to use Mortal Coil on this. We'll see. Oh, no! Boys, you can Stampeding Kodo. God damn it. Ugh. Yeah, my opponent's just going to ignore my own thing. Okay, well, here... I could Shadow Bolt, kill this thing, and then Mortal Coil. Or I could do this and Shadow Bolt. That doesn't seem quite right. Can't play this guy. Maybe I'll just play the biggest thing I have. Let's just play the biggest thing I have. And if you want a race, you'll have a race. It's actually probably not a good idea to race against mages, because they have so many freezing effects and removal. Polymorph. Bah! That was not my sheep impersonation. That was just me making a noise of frustration. Okay, anyway, I can actually play the Mountain Giant next turn. My opponent is taking the time here to kill the Harvest Golem. Alright, that's fine. I guess I'd prefer that over hitting me in the face. Yeah, this is a bit of a risk. My opponent could have another Polymorph, but that was the time to get this card out. So I will get it out. My opponent is going to ignore me now. That's totally fair. And play Bosch Berserker. Well, that might need to be killed. Oh no! Oh god, that is insanely good against Mountain Giant. Fuck my life. Well, now we definitely need to kill this turn. So this is 3, 4... Oh my god, this is terrible. This mirror image is making my life hell. Well, I think I actually have to now myself play the Warden. Even though this allows the Gurubashi Berserker to get all enraged and whatnot, I think I have to do this. And... oh god, this is terrible. I think I will actually play a Raging Worgen. So the idea now is that I can either Mogushan Warden onto this mirror image and then Mortal Coil it off to draw a card, and then trigger a Raging Worgen off of the Golem and maybe kill 2 things. Are you freaking kidding me? Jesus! Oh my god! Another Kodo. Ah, Kodos are so good. Well, now I'm just losing this race. This is getting kind of a disaster. It's turning out to be a disaster zone here. Oh, man. Ugh, I'm down to 7 health. That's actually really terrifying. God, this mirror image was so fucking good, I can't even handle it. I might need to Shadow Bolt this. I can kill that, then that, I can kill that. Yeah, I mean, being at this little life against Mage is not that great, nor is Shadow Bolting a mirror image, but I'm not sure if that was really correct. Do I want to, hang on, let me Mortal Coil this first. Draw a card. That's not really changing anything for me here. Oh, God. That was something. That was definitely something. Let's heal up, I guess. But I'm dead to lots of stuff. Fireball I'm dead to, because this guy can just hit me for 3. Ah, it's a fireball. Jesus Christ, that game, honestly. That game. Oh, 2 fireballs. I was really dead. Okay. Opponent beat me with quite a big margin to spare there. Mr. Ryan Salerno. I bet he's like in the same wizard school as Trent. We are the premier arcane masters of Azeroth. Trent and Ryan Salerno. Anyway, that game was painful. That mirror image, man, I could have killed like so many of his creatures if it weren't for those 2/0/2 taunts. Mirror image, you gotta have respect for that card. If there's one thing that game teaches us, it's, well, 2 things. Number 1, have respect for the Kodo. God, he killed my Mogushan Warden. That would have saved me so much health, too. He would have had to run a lot of stuff into it. And have respect for mirror image. Okay, well, here we go. This is actually, I think, yeah, I really don't like Drain Life. Let's just get an actual card here. Mountain I will play the Voodoo Doctor here to, again, trade up. I mean, you saw it was pretty useful in the previous game where I got to trade up against one of my opponent's plays. With the 2-1 I dropped on turn 1. Novice Engineer. Well, that is interesting. I don't exactly enjoy this trade right here, but the fact that my opponent spent a coin to play this out is a little bit suspicious. I'm not sure that's a really good play. Tracking. Okay, it's a fine card. I find it weird that you discard the others. That means you're basically removing 3 cards from your deck. And that means if it does get into a fatigue war, granted, not that that's likely, you'll be in a little bit of trouble. Okay, well, let's play Raging Worgen. A Shattered Sun Cleric in your back pocket when you play this feels really good. Because you can make it a 4/4, and that can allow you to use it effectively against more than your opponent thought you might be able to. Against a Harvest Golem, it actually makes no difference. Either way, this guy kills itself against a Harvest Golem. You can't really protect him enough. Oh, I wish I had Mortal Coil. I wish I had Mortal Coil. God damn it. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do this, I think. And I wish I had removal for this. I don't. Shattered Sun Cleric doesn't do enough to protect me against this thing. So what I'm going to do is actually, well, hang on, I could do this and play a Panda down. This is actually the second time I've done this. Kind of like this move. It's a bit vulnerable to Deadly Shot here against the Hunter. Then I will regret that I left this 2-1 alive, but I do get to play this down next turn. And it puts another card in my hand, so the Mountain Giant's going to be a little bit easier to play. He actually costs 6 mana. Next turn. Scavenging Hyena, alright. What do we got here? Interesting play of the Scavenging Hyena, unless my opponent's got really good play for 2 mana. That is going to die to my Brewmaster. Yeah, wow, I don't know why my opponent did that. Oh, Mortal Coil, yes. That is worth passing on this guy for, absolutely. So let's draw cards. We always want to draw cards first. Ah, look at that. This is why you draw cards first, kids. Now I can Demon Fire this. And in lieu of the River Crocolisk, I'm actually going to life tap. This is so that I can play the Mountain Giant next turn. My opponent's kind of in a pickle. Deadly Shot will kill this. Deadly Shot is 3 mana, destroy a random minion, so if your opponent only has 1, that minion will die. But then he won't have a Deadly Shot for the Mountain Giant, unless of course he's lucky and has 2. If he doesn't have Deadly Shot, this is really difficult for hunters to kill. They would really need the Hunter's Mark. That's the 0 mana, a creature's health is set to 1 card. Alright, it's a pretty good card. However, this also is a pretty good card. Now, I don't want to run my... I don't want to ignore... Well, do I? Hang on, I can actually... No. I'm gonna kill the Squire here. I think this is fine. So you have to be a little bit careful against your life total against hunters. He does have a lot of cards. Unleash the Hounds could be up here with a bunch of beasts. It probably isn't, but I do need to respect his lethal potential. I don't have any taunts here, rather sadly. I can actually play out quite a bit of stuff pretty soon here. I'm going to do probably Knife Juggler plus this guy. Seems like my best bet. Yeah, see how, look how my opponent's going after my health total. He's trying to burn me out, I think. Well, can I win? Let's do a quick check. I've got 13 plus 2. It's 15 damage. Sadly, that isn't enough. Oh, 16 damage. That's still not enough. And I'm a bit at risk, so I will take the safe play here. We'll do this and this. And we'll play the Knife Juggler. The reason I'm doing the Knife Juggler last is I didn't actually want the knives to hit his creatures. It wasn't going to help me kill them faster. This puts both knives onto my opponent. So it's helping me win in a timely fashion. Hunters with 8 cards. It's not easy, but they could definitely deal 18 damage at 7 mana. Oh, jeez. Well, I stole my Knife Juggler. Does that actually... wow, I did not know that. The Knife Juggler actually gets a fling off of this somehow. It's odd. Well, at least it didn't steal my 8-4. That would have been a little sad. Now I'm still dealing 8 plus 4 is 12, 16, 17 damage, 18, 19. Okay. This seems totally fine. So even if it's Explosive Trap, see, this guy will die. What is it? 12, 14, 15. If that is Explosive Trap, I am kind of screwed, actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hedge my bets a little bit. I'm going to... Oh, it's Freezing Trap. Okay, so either way, I wasn't going to be able to get the kill. Okay, so Stampeding Kodo doesn't quite kill either of these. 12, 14, 15. Nope, I can't quite kill my opponent here. You know what? We're just gonna kill this stuff. Doink. Aloink. We'll play the Shattered Sun Cleric. We'll play a Crocolisk. Play the Cobra. So again, a Hunter. I really wish I had a Taunt here. I don't. Hunter with 8 mana and 7 cards could deal 16 damage in a turn. It's possible. I mean, it would take a fairly precise hand, but you always have to kind of care for that against Hunters. If it doesn't cost you anything, you know, might as well care for it. Freezing Trap is really good for my opponent. It stopped me from winning on the spot in that turn. Scavenging Hyena. Good start. Kill command. Alright. Fine. Got 6, 8, 11 damage. 12, 13. Still not quite enough to win on the spot. Eaglehorn Bow. It's a bit risky. Hitting my creatures with it might not be a good move. I guess if he's being hit anyway, might as well kill the creature. Seems like a fair move. I'll take it. I'll take that back immediately. Okay, Stampeding Kodo seems like a pretty good play. I still can't win. 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. I'm not quite enough. Swing. God, that bug is not very good. We'll play this thing and hang on to this Abusive Sergeant. Might be useful as a surprise. So my opponent's got 3 damage on this bow, 2 from hero ability. That's 5 damage, down to 11 health. Yeah, with 5 cards and 7 mana. Still could die here.
What does the future
That probably will not do it. Yeah, so I'm gonna live, it seems like, and I'm actually gonna win the game. Yeah, I've definitely got 7 damage. My opponent's thinking very hard about what to do with that weapon. He's gonna kill my Worgen. Very well. And point at himself. And point at that thing. And point at that thing. Point at everything. Woo! Point at everything, baby. Yeah, this is over. Okay. What is that? My 3rd win? 4th win? I think my 3rd win. I don't know. Good start to the arena here. I think we're up to 3. We even destroyed 40 minions. Man, I gotta say, that one, I don't know if it's just me, but it seems way easier. Oh, 4th win, awesome. It seems way easier to destroy 40 minions than it is to play, like, 20 minions that cost 2 or less, or that cost 5 or more. I don't know, you saw me in that one video, I expected a whole arena and I couldn't play enough minions, but destroying minions, I mean, minions die all the time. I wonder if they'll change that quest later to require more minions. Or actually, will they even care enough? Probably not. Anyway, Celerto the Mage. Now that is a man who knows how to name mages. Well named, sir. These are good removal cards. This is late. This dies to hero ability. If I weren't against a mage, I would have kept the Abusive Sergeant and played him on turn 1. Now the Voidwalker, that is eminently playable on turn 1. I can even go for the Demon Fire combo on turn 2. And have a 3/5 on the board on the 2nd turn. I don't know if that's good. It does put a couple of eggs in one basket, but I should be able to kill at least one thing with it before it goes down to a Fireball or Polymorph. My opponent's going to start to work. Get to work! Yeah, we'll do it. Whatever, man. Swing. As long as it doesn't die before a creature comes out, it's just as good to put it on this as it is to kill a creature with it, I think. I don't know if that's horribly flawed logic, but I have a good curve. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. Earthen Ring Farseer. Alrighty. Well, I could kill it with my demon thing. Of course, then it would die to the mage's hero ability, so this is a good time to Shadow Bolt, I think. Swingaroony. And pass the turn. Dragon. Alright. Same deal as before where, yeah, the hero ability makes this die. So, it's an interesting choice here. Can't drain life. This can't be targeted by hero spells and whatnot. If I attack my opponent, and my opponent actually has removal for this, like a Frostbolt, I'm going to regret it. But if I attack my opponent and she doesn't have removal for it, then I'll be totally fine. I wish I had my Voodoo Doctor here to heal this back up to 5. That would be really great. Let's go ahead then and assume the best. I could coin out a Fen Creeper. That seems really good. I mean, yeah, we'll just coin a Fen Creeper out here. That's a giant, and it'll be nice for protecting my Cobra and Worgen, who may want to wait in the wings to strike at juicy targets. Now notice how good this ability is. Like, I would have just drain lifed it and kept on swinging with my 3/3. Instead, my opponent's going to get to finish my Voidwalker off. So the Fairy Dragon's ability is not to be underestimated. That is not just a 3/2 for 2. Okay, it looks like I made the right choice, swinging for 3. Got 3 extra damage on. That is a fairly unimpressive drop. Oh my god! Murloc Warleader, you've got to be kidding me. Well, I'm really glad now that I coined out my Fen Creeper. Let's get rid of that nonsense. And Stampeding Kodo here seems... Hang on. Yeah, it seems good because if I leave it alone, this plus hero ability will kill my Fen Creeper. This at least gives me a 50-50 chance of busting this thing up, and then my Fen Creeper might have another lease on life. Alright, so let's see how the coin flips. It flips the wrong way. Alright, that's still fine. I mean, obviously, it's not great, and it does matter quite a bit, but I can still be okay here. So it'll be 5 cards to 5 cards, and I put a beast on, I have an extra creature on the board. My problem is that my removal is pretty weak, like a Sunwalker here, or really any good 6-drop, like a Boulderfist Ogre would sort of put me behind already.
What to do?
I don't have any of my late game cards. Granted, my opponent can't do that and kill the Fen Creeper, haha, so she's going to have to be a little bit careful. For 6 mana next turn, I don't really want to drop these both because we are up to Flamestrike territory. I'd actually rather play this guy and draw a card.
Sometimes
Ancient Mage, interesting. Well, the Ancient Mage isn't going to do Jaina any good if the Warlock Tidehunter sacrifices itself in the name of killing the Fen Creeper. Ah, I see. I guess that was okay. I don't actually know if that was worth it. Abusive Sergeant. Well, I think I will actually do this just to get that guy off the map. And we'll play a Warden because he survives against Flame Strikes. This game could very easily go badly. I have a lot of chumpy stuff here. This isn't 4 mana spike. I'm not full of, you know, quality 4 mana creatures. I have a lot of 3 mana creatures, and those are not quite as good as 4 mana creatures. Well, that's not super scary unless there's a really good backup to this, like a Cone of Cold. Arcane Missiles. Oh no! Come on! Can I catch a break? Ugh. I was really hoping that guy would be missed. I could drain life and draw a card, and then do nothing. Actually, that's a terrible turn. Or I could just play the Boulderfist Ogre and leave the Sorcerer's Apprentice alive. That seems fine. We'll swing for 1 damage. Pass ye old turn. We'll drain life next turn. And my opponent, mages are so strong with their removal, have 2 different ways of getting rid of this. Polymorph and Fireball. Polymorph, god damn it. Oh man, you know what? The mages have been landing all of their polymorphs against me. Every single one. The Sea Giant, then there was the Polymorph. Anyway, Power Overwhelming, not that great. Mortal Coil also, or Drain Life also kind of a waste here. Let's just go ahead and see if we can get a good card. Ah, Shattered Sun Cleric. Perfect. So we can do this. I'm just gonna not do that. Let my opponent trade in and all that stuff. We'll play the Cobra. Bit risky now against Flamestrike, but what are you gonna do? And this might be good waiting in the wings to stop my opponent's big plays. Like if she does have a Boulderfist Ogre or whatever, then my opponent can't actually play it right now. Man, she's at 21 life. I have really not done that much damage. There's the Flame Strike. Ah, fuck. You know what I really wish I had? Mortal Coil! God, that card is so good. It's nuts how good that card is. Flame Imp. we need to draw a card here. This is getting a little bit disastrous. Ah, Harvest Golem, very good. I'm not gonna Drain Life that. Am I? You know, I'm gonna just do it. Whatever. Drain Life's pretty good. And we'll put Flame Imp on the board and pass the turn. So we're both kind of in top deck mode. I fear, however, that even though I have 4 cards versus 3, that my opponent has better cards. This is a bit awkward. It actually is a good combo with the Harvest Golem, because the Harvest Golem pops back, but mages can just finish off the damaged golem that appears. And the Worgen, the time has passed the Worgen by. This is very unlikely to be super good right now. I have a Mountain Giant still waiting in here. I could actually play it. I do have 2 cards here, so I could actually play it for my whole turn next turn if I draw that. Do I have any other late game cards? I have the Boulder Fist Ogre, who's already bitten the bucket. Oh, well, it's a good thing I've got Power Overwhelming. That's the moral of the story, I suppose. God damn it, stupid stuff. Okay, we have to kill that thing. Yoink. Am I gonna draw a card here is the question. I think I have to try to draw out of this situation. Ah, Flesh and Ghoul. You know, I should have drawn... Oh my god, kids, always draw cards first. I missed the chance to grow this by another 2. I can't play around any more FLAMESTRIKEs. We're just gonna draw it down. This should be at 6-3. It should be at 6-3. I should have drawn first, and I just played a little bit carelessly, and I, you know, made a potentially game-losing mistake, dealing 2 less damage per turn with this ghoul. And like now, well, Cone of Cold kind of stops all my dreams, but I can't trade with that thing. Ah, I see. I need to really draw one of my healer cards. There we go. That's cool. Am I gonna draw a card? No, I'm not gonna draw cards. We'll wait and see if I have to draw cards. But yeah, this golem should be at 7-3. Granted, my opponent's probably gonna trade for it anyway, so I guess it ended up not mattering that much, but still. Okay, if I get Mortal Coil, I have to remember to consider Mortal Coiling my own Worgen, because that is 8 damage. So that would actually be quite a lot. 8 versus 6, so it's like the Mortal Coil is dealing 5, or 8 versus 3, so it's like the Mortal Coil deals 5 damage. My opponent seems to have a plan for my other stuff. It might be another freezing spell. No, not another freezing spell. Interesting choice by my opponent, letting my flesh-eating ghoul live. Well, Cultmaster is fan-fiddly-tastic right here. We're going to just do this. Wait, 6 plus 3. No, I couldn't have won. There's no way. Knife Juggler's pretty good. Draw another card first, though. Jungle Panther. This all dies to FLAMESTRIKE. I'm just going to leave it alone. Swing for 10. Not going to draw any cards just yet. We'll see if I have to. So this should have been at 12. So then my opponent should be at 11 health. Ah, fuck. That blizzard was really good. So now the Flesh and Ghoul dies. So basically I could have dealt 2 more damage to my opponent if I'd played correctly, drawing cards first. Okay, so let's see what we get here. Wow, Silverhand Knight's really good. Now, you don't want to get too carried away. I do die to a top deck FLAMESTRIKE, so I'll keep the Panther on deck here. But we'll pass the turn there. Arcane Missiles is not that scary. Ah, oh, had to hit the Knife Juggler, hey? God, I have a lot of bad creatures in this deck. Let's put this in the middle. That actually has some cool value. If my opponent top decks another Cone of Cold, she won't be able to freeze all my stuff, because it's a stealth. She can only freeze 2 of my creatures. The third, the Squire can attack, and I win. Alright, great. I survived FLAMESTRIKE. That should be like, oh my god, that should be such a great shirt. I should open like a Hearthstone online t-shirt shop. I'd make millions. There should be a shirt that says, I survived FLAMESTRIKE. I mean, wouldn't you buy that shirt? I mean, like if you were a Hearthstone player, would you or would you not pay $20 for a shirt that says, I survived FLAMESTRIKE? I would. I think that'd be a great shirt. What other t-shirts could we make? Probably a picture of me yelling, oh, what do I yell? Oh no, he's got the ooze! Or something like that. Alright, Fitter the Druid. The Druid ended my last arena, so I have to respect them a little bit. Actually, no I don't. I still would rather play a Druid. I'm gonna be honest. I would rather play a Druid than most other classes. I think I actually like playing against Warlocks. I don't have much respect for them. Although, again, I will lose to them. It's not that I never lose to them. I just feel like my odds are better against Warlocks than other classes. And I feel like my odds are better against Druids than other classes as well. Off to a really fast start here. Holy crap. This, then Knife Juggler. This is one of those slow starting druid decks. My opponent could be in trouble. Nope, he's got a coin. Alright. Oh no, please don't be ridiculous. Okay. That was actually kind of awesome. We're not going to do anything crazy here. We're just going to trade my 1-drop for his 2-drop. So actually, I dealt 2 damage to myself, and he did 2 damage to himself. Granted, he also dealt a damage to me with that bomber. Let's see what he's got here. Wrath. Well, fuck. I was really hoping my opponent would have a slow start. It was not to be. We'll just... See, the Flesh-Eating Ghoul kind of sucks here, because my opponent could play like a random 3/3 for 3, and the Ghoul has nothing to eat. So we're going to actually play the Cobra. This way, if my opponent plays a credible threat, I can play the Flesh-Eating Ghoul behind it, then trade the Cobra for whatever he played, and then have a 4/3 on the board. This is, you know, Hearthstone, it's all these little things like that, you know, that make all the difference. Damn, I really would actually like to have removal for this. But if I, let's see, if I life tap, hoping to get a Demon Fire, which is the only thing that will kill this, that seems awfully low. Let's just go ahead and play the Ghoul. Trade. It is important to trade because the Pyromancer will kill the Ghoul at the 3 toughness here and pass a turn. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have a second Wrath. Even if he does, I could actually be okay, but I'd really much rather him play a creature that dies to the Kodo. So like, let's say he plays Mogish and Warden, I play Kodo, and then I'm really, really ahead. If you play something that does not die to the Kodo like that, oh man, I'm one kill short of being able to do that. Okay, well, this seems very clear. I think I want to play the Voidwalker, and then I'm also going to play that, and I'm also going to draw a card. So always draw cards first. Oh my god! Always draw cards first. Let's see. So I can give this +1/+1, making it a 5/4, and then they'll trade. I'm left with this on the board. The other option is to play the Voidwalker and the Bloodcell Raider. This guy will kill the Voidwalker, go down to 4 health. How am I killing this thing then? Yeah, I think it's important to not throw away my Voidwalker and just get this kill when I can. So even though that was a sad end to the Flesh-Eating Ghoul, I mean, it was a 3-drop that traded with like the best 4-drop in the game, with a little bit of help. Come on, Gurubashi Berserker. Come on, play a Gurubashi Berserker. I will take that. I will accept that. Oh man, this and hero ability, that is totally fine. I'm very happy here. So my opponent is probably thinking I'm just going to trade in and kill this. You know what? This actually bespeaks of a bad hand. For 5 mana, my opponent played something that he knew was going to die. And instead, something even worse happened. Oh my god. When you play a creature and you get a creature on the board and take away a creature from your opponent, it is so strong. Don't overlook the Stampeding Kodo. Yes, it only kills, you know, quote-unquote weak creatures, but man is it freaking good. I'm actually pretty resistant to most Druids removal here. Swipe, nothing doing. Starfall, whiffs. Starfire will kill my Kodo, but it's its whole turn, and I'm still continuing to swing for 4 and dropping an Ogre. I'd say I won the opening there. My opponent can, of course, win. He's only 1 card behind me, really, but I would say that I won the opening so far. Fitter the Druid. Fitter, that rhymes with shitter. I don't think he meant for that. Oh, that's a pretty good drop here. That's a pretty good drop. It really kind of holds me up. I could 2 for 1. Shadow Bolt. Well, I could like 1.5 for 1. I could Shadow Bolt and then use the Kodo. The Kodo does survive. Or I could just play the Ogre and kind of call it a day. Actually, you know what? I could trade this Cleric in the Kodo. Cleric dies, Kodo lives. I get an Ogre on the board. Or I could play the Boulder for Stoker, Power Overwhelming on the Cleric. You know, the Cleric did her job. She got the, she got that Yeti to die. I don't feel too bad throwing her away. It seems fine. I mean, yes, it's a 2 for 1, technically speaking, but I will consider the qualitative value of that play over the quantitative drawback. So now we're equal on cards, 5 versus 5, but I put a 6/7 on the board. So my opponent needs really good stuff here. Okay, in this arena, Power Overwhelming has been good. I would take it again, I guess. It's just that in the last arena, for some reason, it was really terrible. I was expecting it to be good because I also had the Void Terror, the thing that eats your own creature, so you can like Power Overwhelming a creature and then play Void Terror after it. But it really actually wasn't that good for some reason. Wow, oh man. This is like the first time in my life someone played an Argent Commander and I was happy. Look how good that Void Terror was, folks. It was so good. It was a 1/3 1 mana and it popped an Argent Commander's Divine Shield. Hot diggity damn. So we're going to play a 6/6 for 5 mana. Ah, man, it must be very frustrating for my opponent. This is like the worst thing in the world when you're like, oh god, I'm already behind, please don't play more big stuff, and then your opponent plays more big stuff. So, Druids, I mean, this is part of why I just love playing against Druids. Druids are just so helpless to this situation. I mean, basically all he can do is drop an Ironbark Protector, then force me to 2-for-1, and then I keep on swinging. But like a mage could like Cone of Cold, hero ability. Then next turn, Blizzard. Then the turn after that, Flamestrike. Like a mage, if I were up against a mage, I'd be like, maybe I'll win this game. Against a druid, I'm like very, very confident I'm winning because druids have so few answers. Oh, jeez. Oh, that is painful to watch. Moonfire! Okay, so my opponent 2-for-1, like his best card and a shit card, and then he's still just gonna lose. Okay, well, yeah, I got 9 damage coming in. That is over half of his damage. So if that was the best that he could muster up, that is good. Always draw cards first, kids. Mortal Coil. I finally draw Mortal Coil, and it's terrible. Alright, I'm not going to play this, because I don't need it to win, and it does open me up to the mind control tech. Let's not take any unnecessary risks. Okay, that's a good game. Wow, I'm up to 6. I think this is the best I've ever been doing as Warlock. I don't believe I've ever been at 6-1 as Warlock in the past, so that's cool. That is cool, daddy-o. And let's see if we can get our first good run with Warlock. Again, as I mentioned before, every run that I post now is unedited, it's unskipped, so basically I just post every arena run that I have. You can always check by my gold total, which my gold total always disappears right as I'm about to point to it, and by the sneak peek at the end of each arena to see who my choices are, and then that way you will know that that's who I'm playing as next time. Wow, fast start here. Yeah, we'll just keep this whole hand, I think. This seems totally fine. It'd be cool if I were going second. I could coin both of these out and have 5 damage on the board on turn 1. Priests, obviously cannot deal with this too easily. Shadow Word Pain will kill one of them, but not the other. And for him to spend coin Shadow Word Pain on the Flame Imp, I would be very happy with. Finally, I have a Mortal Coil that could be really useful. And we're on my favorite map, so I'm feeling great. Oh, a Knife Juggler, that's great. So we're going to play Flame Imp. This kills Northshire Clerics, actually, which is just stupendously good. Alright, my opponent is going to coin for Swampoos. Well, that's a pretty good move by my opponent, because it trades with my creature. On this turn, I will actually just do the trade. That way my Knife Juggler will live. So, I dealt 2 damage to myself, but my 1-drop traded for his 2-drop and a coin, so I'd say that was a win. Well, oh my god, Abusive Sergeant. Is or is not the Abusive Sergeant really epic right here? I didn't even draw... Shit, I should have drawn a card first. I'm sorry, folks. It wasn't gonna matter. Okay. Oh my god, that was insanely good. It's usually very difficult to kill a Lightwell that drops on turn 2, but Abusive Sergeant did the work. Okay, well here it's actually very important to take care about your order. So I'm actually going to do this first, because I don't want to fling a knife at that Acolyte and give him an extra card. Here, I think I'll just play a Worgen. Keep the pressure up. My opponent, Priests have lots of good stuff. I mean, he could still come back. Holy Nova next turn. No coin, so it's not coming this turn. Could kill off 2 of my creatures. Lightspawn, very, very solid card here as well. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a risk and play this guy. Well, hang on. If only one of the knives hits, it's unlikely both knives will hit. If only one knife hits, I don't have enough left for Mortal Coil. It would be 4/4. That would actually kind of suck. I think we'll see this, and draw a card. Okay, I'm gonna draw a card, play the Voidwalker and the Drain Life. I think that's the plan here. Oh, I can't play both of them. Oh, Jesus. This is 3 mana. God, I keep forgetting how bad that card is. Crap. That was probably not the best. Shit. Yeah. Okay, we'll play the Voidwalker. So, it's a taunter. It'll stand in the way of this thing. I have a feeling I didn't play that turn to the best of my abilities. But if he had a Shadow Word Pain, he clearly would have used it earlier. So he probably doesn't have a Shadow Word Pain for this Voidwalker, so he probably has to run the Light Spawn into it. And then I can keep on attacking him for damage. This is going to be a really good drop next turn, especially if the Knife Juggler is by a miracle still alive. Holy Nova actually is kind of awkward. It enrages my Worgen, and then he doesn't have a way to kill it. Mass Dispel. Oh wow, that was a really good card. So now all my stuff loses their abilities. And yeah, he gets value out of this Light Spawn. Mind Vision. Okay, I'm not that scared of the Mind Vision, to be honest. I don't think there's that much that it will do for my opponent. Okay, let's think very carefully here. I could actually Panda back a Knife Juggler and basically get it back in action. That's one option. I could also hit this with my Voidwalker and then Mortal Coil. Yeah, I think we're going to try that. So we're going to do this. Let's see what I draw. Bleh. Well, everything dies to Holy Nova here. So if I play this, it's not that great. The Squire dies to Holy Nova, and then my 4/4 lives. Granted, that's my opponent's whole turn. Yeah, I think we're actually going to do that. So basically, what I'm saying here is, I don't care if you Holy Nova me.
Ready, sir.
It's his entire turn. I still hit him for 4. He'll heal up to 14, go down to 10. And this guy's actually playable next turn.
Let me change your mind.
Ah. Well, this is interesting. So, unlike Shadow Madness, this is permanent. However, the creature does have Summoning Sickness. Now, can I win right here? I have to be careful. So I can have 4, 7, 8, 10. Yep, I win. Oh, overwhelming. Pretty good, although Drain Life would have finished it for me as well. Alright, I'm really excited. I made it to 7 wins as Warlock. This is the first time in history, and I didn't edit a bunch of, like play and not post a bunch of Warlock games. This is the honest to gosh, real deal. I think one lesson here is that Mountain Giant's actually pretty good. I would say won me a few games indirectly by forcing my opponent to have, play as Premier Removal. And I think it won one, if I remember right, it won me one game directly just by smashing for lots of damage. And Power Overwhelming is a good card. I don't know if I'd want 2 of them in my deck, but 1 has actually been very solid here. Not even without going for any particular combos. Although that one game where I Power Overwhelminged on Harvest Golem to kill a Ventrico Mercenary was really good. And even Power Overwhelming to kill that 4/6 taunt against the Druid, even though it was a stone cold straight up 2-for-1, it was still really good because I had the advantage, so I could afford to lose a card. So yeah, it's been a good card. Mortal Coil is as good as I thought it would be. And what could I have taken over to Shadow Bolt? Yeah, I'm happy I had Mortal Coil instead, because that turn I killed the Light Spawn, having extra mana was really, really important. Man, so many mages. I think mages are above priests now, at least for me. Cutlass. What is that? That sounds like some kind of a thing. Anyway, this is a bit early, and this doesn't seem that great. I'm not going to want to send any of this stuff back up. So we'll draw, see if we can get even more early game. Alright, well, we've got our curve, folks. 1, 2, 3. Gotta feel good about this start. This also can't be targeted by mage spells. This is just looking great. I even got removal on turn 3. Ah, man, this is perfect. This Flame Imp, good card. Really glad I took it. What could I have taken in its place? Was this the Blood Imp? I don't remember if the Blood Imp was what I could have taken, but man, I'm glad I took it over whatever it was. Okay, no need to rush out the Flesh-Eating Ghoul. Let's just swing with the Flame Imp. So if my opponent spends like 2 whole turns killing the Flame Imp with his hero ability, I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, looks like that's what she's going to do. And pass turn. Alright, great. Well, let's swing. And I'm actually going to play Flesh-Eating Ghoul here. Reason being is I have the Shadow Bolt. If I didn't have Shadow Bolt, I might not have played this. I might have played the Worgen. But with the Shadow Bolt, there's a reasonably high chance I can kill whatever she plays. And I can't kill Wind Yeti, Shill Wind Yeti. I cannot kill Ascension, but like this is dead. Now, I am not even going to trade. I mean, it might be tempting to trade. Then, oh, hang on a minute. As I start to say, like, I'm not even going to trade, it's actually kind of tempting because, okay, if I Shadow Bolt, that is my turn. And then I leave this on the board. And my Ghoul is a 3/3. If I trade... Yeah, I'll Shadow Bolt. Basically, if I trade, I can coin and put this on the board and have a bigger board presence, but I feel like I can do that next turn anyway. And I also keep my coin like this. I put a lot of pressure on my opponent. I mean, look at this. My opponent's down to 18 health. It's turn 5. I mean, you gotta feel really good about that. So I'd say that I won the opening here. See what my opponent can do. Frost Nova, that's a good sign. That's pretty desperate this early in the game. Okay, so at this point my opponent catches up a little bit because she can then kill off the flesh-eating ghoul before it gets out of hand, unless I play Fen Creeper. I like how I start to talk and then I then change my mind. Oh my god, I messed up. So folks, educational moment, Fen Creeper should have been placed over here, keeping the Fairy Dragon in the middle to stop my opponent from playing Cone of Cold on my team. So if she has Cone of Cold, that will have been a crucial error. Well, it's a crucial error no matter what. There's no getting around that was a crucial error. But, interesting. So this shows my opponent has neither Polymorph nor Fireball. Because if she had either one of those, she would have played those first. So that was a really hard turn for my opponent, I have to say. I'm actually going to ignore this Earthen Ring Farseer. The reason for that is, if my opponent had removal for the Fen Creeper, she clearly would have played it last turn at 6 mana. So this hitting down kind of suggests she has a Flamestrike coming up. So I don't want to play this because it does just die to Flamestrike. What I will play instead is this, which does two things. Number one, it survives Flamestrike, and number two, it makes the Fen Creeper survive a Flamestrike plus hero ability combo. So my opponent can play Flamestrike. This goes down to 2 health. Yep, look at that. Papa Boris calls him like a beast. Now the Earthen Ring Farseer can trade with the Fen Creeper. I have Taunt Buckaroo, and I can now swing for 4 damage. Can I win? 4? No, I can't win. Okay, so we're gonna... Well, I'm actually gonna draw a card this turn. I think it's important to do that because another Flamestrike could be incoming. So basically here, my opponent's in pretty serious trouble. I've got 4, 6, 8 damage. Oh, sorry, 4, 6, 8 damage. So if all she does is kill this thing and not play any taunt or kill my other stuff, she'll lose. Okay, this is now actually a really good turn for my opponent. So basically, she gets to kill that thing, she gets to kill that thing, and I can't quite kill that thing. Bah. Well, Power Overwhelming would actually win me the game here. Mortal Coil is also really good. I will do this. Card. Voidwalker? Okay. Why do I have a lot of chumpy stuff in my deck, I guess. Alright, let's play the Worgen, then the Voidwalker, and Cobra. Cobra could be handy for dealing with big threats. If my opponent gets another Flamestrike, then she gets another Flamestrike. And then I might lose, but I feel like I need to, with all this chumpy stuff, I need to kind of put a lot of it onto the board. Okay, no Flamestrike for my opponent. Hooray. There could be a spell following this, now that spells cost 1 less. No, alright. I think I just win now. 3, 5, 6, 8. Alright. It was a good game. Well, I had a really strong start. My opponent had a bit of a slow start. She had only hero ability on turn 2. And then that Fen Creeper. Man, that Fen Creeper, the extra health compared to the Shield Master, justified the extra mana cost in that particular game, so that was pretty great. Glad I drafted it, and then I'm glad I talked myself into playing it. So one thing that a few people have noticed, I've seen this on several comments now in Reddit threads, is people will say it's much harder to play than it is to watch. So when you watch, what I mean by that is that when you watch someone else playing, the game seems easier to play than it really is. Okay, 5th mage. Is that the 5th mage of this arena? Hold on. We had Trent, Ryan Salerno, Celeraton, or some actually correctly named mage. The last mage, and actually, yeah, there was 5 mages in this arena. We'll keep this all. This is all nice early game stuff. Anyway, so yeah, you feel like the game is a little bit easier than it really is. And I experienced this myself when I watched Trump back when I didn't have a beta key. I mean, I thought he was really awesome, but I also thought, like, oh, I'm going to be awesome at this game. I totally get it. And then when you start playing it, it's like, oh, it's actually a little bit hard. Anyway, I forget where I was going with that. I'm sorry. I just totally forget where I was going with all that. I don't know what I was doing. Okay, let's play the Voidwalker. I could have coined a Knife Juggler out and flung some knives around, but it's fine. It is totally fine. This mirror image is actually slowing me down quite a bit here. My opponent's going to... Whoa! Interesting play. Not dealing damage to my Voidwalker. I wonder why she wouldn't. Well, I think the Flame Imp actually is worth spending a coin on here. Because if it hits one of these mirror images... Damn it! I was really hoping I would hit one of the mirror images. 2/3 odds. Not for Papa Boris. Not today. I could have killed one of them off. Oh my god, I was going somewhere with that whole tangent about stuff being easier when you watch rather than when you play. Let me just end by saying, I hope you all get into the game soon, because I know a lot of my viewers have been waiting anxiously to get a beta key. So here's wishing everybody gets into the game and finds out just how fun and challenging it is. Okay, my opponent's pointing something at this knife juggler rather pointedly. I'm guessing it's a frostbolt. I don't think there's much to think about here. I mean, you clearly want a frostbolt, a knife juggler, unless she has some other spell like Cone of Cold and is like thinking about doing that instead. Come on, just frostbolt it, buddy. Just frostbolt it. Just do it. No, what are you doing? Why not? This must not be frostbolt. It must be some kind of like a tricky decision. It is a frostbolt. Okay, I have no idea why my opponent spent so long on that. That was, in my opinion, a pretty obvious decision. Knife juggler is incredibly good. All right, we're gonna play Flesh-Eating Ghoul here. Finish off the mirror image that we started on last turn. Finish off that thing, and we got a pretty good card. Man, I hate to keep saying, like, I told you so, and I hope you don't take that as an obnoxious thing. I'm trying to be educational, not, like, self-aggrandizing, but the Flesh-Eating Ghoul is a really good card. I think it's better than whatever removal spell I passed to take over it. Because my opponent just spent a Frostbolt on the Knife Juggler. If this is what she does, she clearly doesn't have another Frostbolt, or else she'd do that to take out my threat, and I'd say that I am winning the opening in that case. Oh my god, what is she doing? Okay, here's a little tip. When you use Mage's hero ability, like you have nothing better to do on your turn, you really should hit creatures with it. Because that extra damage, it might matter. Like it might matter like later in the game, bunch of crazy shit happens, you never know. Like it might matter to have that extra damage on the creature. That is, I think, one of the things that makes the Mage's hero ability so strong, and in my opinion the best one in the game, is the fact that you can't just ploink away at a minion without taking any life loss for it, the way that rogues and druids have to. So, like, this Voidwalker should have a point of damage on it. I mean, yes, I took a point of damage instead, but, like, this Voidwalker should totally have a point of damage on it right now, and that might matter in some unforeseen way later on. Okay, well, this is actually a really credible threat. If I had Mortal Coil, I would totally just trade the Flame Imp plus Mortal Coil into the Magi. As it is, I'm probably going to trade in the Fen Creeper. Now, if I fish for Mortal Coil, I can't play one of my really good 3-drops. The Cobra and the Harvest Golem are both really, really good. I can play the River Crocolisk, though. Alright, we'll fish for it. Oh my god, I actually got it! I mean, granted, you could say, oh, Boris, what a lucky top deck, but you know what? I mean, I gave my... This is a great example of what I've been talking about. You gotta give yourself chances to get lucky if you want to get lucky. Like, I gave myself a chance to get lucky. I had a backup plan, you know, in case that failed. But, you know, I think many other players would have just, you know, played their best creature called it a day, or played the Crocolisk and then drew a card. But, like, you know, that's so tricky about Warlocks, is you really need to life tap first, because if you play Warlock a lot over the course of your career, eventually amazing stuff like that will happen. Oh no, she found another Frostbolt. Oh no, she didn't. She found a Faceless Manipulator. Ah, touche, sir. Okay, this is a little bit interesting. Let me think. I wish I had a Cobra on the board now, of course. Basically, with this in play, and my opponent clearly not having any Frostbolts or Silences, it seems likely that this Taunter is good, and it seems very likely this Taunter will be good as well. Now, the problem with placing this is, I don't want her to be able to kill such a good creature with this Ghoul. Granted, this trades with the Ghoul, whereas the Voidwalker just kind of dies to it meekly. Demon Fire on the Voidwalker makes it a 3/5, so it'll still die to the Ghoul. Then this will hit for 8. Oh my gosh, that seems really strong. I'm going to do that. It is card disadvantage, but I am going to do that. I feel like the tempo here is just insane for me. I'm going to swing for 8. And my opponent clearly doesn't have any Frostbolts or Silences. She would have played those long ago, so I'm going to play a Cobra. Cobra is likely to stick, and then it makes it so that if my opponent plays a Taunter, like a Lord of the Arena, then the Cobra can flush it out for the Flesh-Eating Ghoul to continue smashing. And this Ghoul, like I said before, this used to be a rare. Ah, Argent Commander, very good card. Okay. Yeah, that was good for my opponent, so finally getting rid of that Ghoul. This used to be, the Ghoul used to be a rare, and you can kind of tell. I feel like you really can just kind of tell how that is a rare caliber card. Okay, this actually holds up really nicely against the Argent Commander. My opponent does not seem to have any kind of quote-unquote traditional removal. So I feel like this is likely to stick and then hold this guy off, and I can maybe save my Cobra for a more threatening target. Now, if I get my opponent low enough, actually the Tiger becomes a Wrecking Ball powerhouse. Because Flamestrike doesn't kill it, Alright, there's a Flamestrike already. Flamestrike does not kill it. My opponent should really... You really need to trade here, because you can't let me hit you anymore. Flamestrike doesn't kill it, and it damages it down to 1 health. And then the hero ability can't target it because it's in stealth, so that 5th point of health is really clutch there. I am going to draw a card and play Silverhand Knight, so I will draw a card first. And then play the Silverhand Knight. So Flamestrike will kill this, but it's a bit sad using a 7-mana mass removal spell to kill what is essentially 1 card. And this is 6 damage, which is actually a rather credible threat. It's half of my opponent's life total. Alright, well I would say that I won the opening and the mid game. We'll see how the late game plays out. My opponent could definitely come back, because you know what she is? A mage. Mages can come back from any situation. Voidfist Ogre. Alright, well, my Cobra's been flushed out, so this is a pretty strong threat. However, my opponent seems not to have had any removal. Like, Fireball, Polymorph, Silence, all of that I feel like would have been used against the Flesh-Eating Ghoul if she had it. So this Taunter is likely to stick. Look how good this is. Don't discount this card. It forces the Golem to attack, or the Ogre to attack into it, and then it means that I'm at pretty decent odds of killing my opponent off. Now, with this 2 extra mana, she has to hit the Squire. I mean, I think she has to hit the Squire. That's absolutely the right call here. Extra damage on me is totally irrelevant, and then working this down is good. Now, Mana Worm, okay, that's a good play. Mana Worm is a fine play. So now, oh, Mountain Giant. Interesting. See, 6 plus 1 is 7, down to 16. Could my opponent finish me off? Let's see. Let's say she has 2 fireballs. Let's just say. That seems improbable, but let's say. She plays 2 fireballs. That's 12 damage. I'm down to 11. This goes up to 3, so 6 plus 3 is 9. I will live against 2 fireballs. That's really the best thing I can think of that my opponent could have. So we're going to play the Mountain Giant here. A little bit of a change of plans. We're going to heal myself up, just in case. And I'm just going to swing for half her health. So basically now this will kill her all by itself. These 2 will kill her, but if she has removal for this, she can use the Ogre to kill that, and she can use the Mana Worm to kill that. Or actually this as well. So, that was a bit of a risky play because it allows the Ogre to rampage my other creatures, but I feel like it has a higher chance of working than like playing the Warden. Because basically, if she has removal for this, she would have had removal for this as well, you know. So I think it's a reasonable choice on my part. So what my opponent really wants to do is clear out all my creatures. It's quite possible. She could like Polymorph, Hero ability, Mana Worm, Ogre. She's got 3 mana left. Frostbolt. Seems improbable, though, given how long my Flesh-Eating Ghoul lived. But now, I would say, you know, the MVP of this game was my Knife Juggler. It baited the Frostbolt, and then let the Flesh-Eating Ghoul deal an insane amount of damage. Pyroblast! Ah, I see. My opponent was probably checking to see if she could win. No, she could have gotten me down to 15. Say she could have gotten me down to like 7 or so. But yeah, well, I'm happy to see that. That's always nice to see when you're playing against a mage, the Pyroblast on one of your creatures. So it's a bit tricky here for me because I don't have any. I don't have lethal damage here unless I draw my Power Overwhelming. Shadowbolt is actually really good. I will absolutely use that. And I'm not going to draw a card this turn because what I'm going to do instead is play the Tiger. The reason for this is, I mean, I'm just threatening to win. Flamestrike doesn't save my opponent. Cone of Cold, Frost Nova, or Blizzard would buy her a turn, but I have such high health and she just used her Pyroblast, so I feel like I'm in pretty good shape. Does she have a taunt? Well, she's fishing for an out. Okay. My Arena Life is... Well, no, not my Arena Life, but my 9-0 Dream is potentially riding on that top deck. This is an older card.
We must
that's not going to do anything. Raid Leader, that's not going to do anything. Alright, well played.
Well played.
9-1 as a Warlock, that is great. What was the key to the success of this arena? I don't know, actually. I mean, I guess we could say it's the Stranglethorn Tiger. How to play Warlock properly? Stranglethorn Tiger. Make sure you get that card. That is a key Warlock card. Okay, I don't know what the key to that arena was. I feel like I just had some good cards and some good draws. Maybe I'll give myself some credit for taking that Flesh-Eating Ghoul. I don't remember what I took it over, but I remember talking about it. And I think it was like a removal spell. I think maybe a lot of players would have taken whatever removal spell was there, and probably that would have cost me a game. Well, anyway, if you enjoyed that video, thank you so much for watching it. I really appreciate your time. I know these are long. If you enjoyed it, do please like and or subscribe. I'd appreciate that tremendously. And if you just can't get enough of Papa Boris, let's begin Papa Boris's Happy Fun Time bonus hour. So first, let's take a look at our gold reward. All right. Dust. Well, I got a common of my choosing, but really, you should never craft commons. This is always with the 5s. This is 190 gold. I think there might be a pattern. I think, is 9 wins always giving you a 135 bag and a 55 bag, like the way that 7 wins always gives you 75 and 75? That might be it. I feel like I see this a lot. 9 wins. But anyway, that's 190 gold and 2 packs. I'm happy to have a second pack in lieu of more gold. I mean, realistically, getting more gold is cool and all, but like, I'm not really gonna run out of gold anytime soon. I'd have to start playing some really bad arenas to run out here. And even if I do run out, I will totally keep paying money to play in the arena. Ooh, wow, that's kind of cool. I think that's a good card. I don't know if it's worth it. Oh my god! Sylvanas, hey! Woo! That is a good legendary. It's often possible to play around it, but it's difficult to. I'm really glad to have this. I only have 3 legendaries. I have Millhouse Mana Storm. I don't think he's playable. I have the Blood Mage, and then I have the Shaman legendary, Alakir. I'm gonna have to look and see. This will be part of Papa Boris's Fun Time Happy bonus hour, whether it's worth keeping that Blade Master or disenchanting it. Bane of Doom, maybe. And a rare. Alright, Explosive Shot, great. So let's go ahead and see what we got here. 4 duplicate commons, that's to be expected. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Blade Master. Well, I don't want to disenchant it just yet. I apparently only have 1 of them. And this is a card I can totally see myself playing in a variety of decks. So, we'll see. There was actually a really interesting post made. Someone wrote up, like, how many packs you have to open in order to get a full set of cards, which is what I would like to get. And it was actually a really high number. It was, like, above 500, you know, statistically speaking. So here's a sneak peek of our next arena. Alright, Mage, Paladin, or Priest. Oh man, you know, I think Paladin's in my top tier now, so I'm really excited about this choice. We'll probably just see who I played with the least recently and play with that person. Anyway, since this is part of Papa Boris's Happy Fun Time bonus hour, I'll just ramble for a little bit longer. Someone wrote a post talking about how many packs you have to open to get all the cards, and I would like to do that. And it's like a pretty high number on average, like 512 or so was the conclusion. And a major part of that is disenchanting the gold cards that you get. Now that is an awful lot of packs. I mean, even playing the arena and like getting double packs sometimes, I'm gonna have to play in like, you know, like over 400 arenas before I actually am able to get up a full set. Most of the time that you spend is picking up all the legendaries, so it's possible that if I get lucky and flip the legendaries that I need, I won't have to open that many packs. But the thing is that the way that you have to do it to spend your resources most efficiently is you actually have to spend almost all of your dust crafting the legendaries. That's how you end up doing it. So you really should never craft rares or commons, maybe a few epics, and you should really save all your dust for crafting legendaries, which sucks because legendaries cost so much dust and it takes a long time to work up to 1600. So it's hard to do. So that's why, anyway, to make a long story short, that's why I think unless you really put a high value on your on gold cards and on looking, you know, pimp-ass dope when you play the game, it's worth it to disenchant the gold cards. To me personally, I'm kind of torn. On the one hand, I like having the gold cards. I think they're really cool. But on the other hand, I value more the ability to get the cards I need to go into Constructed someday. Especially if, you know, Blizzard makes an expansion and then adds more cards to the game, then it's going to be even harder to get up to a full set. So, like, if I haven't gotten a full set when the expansion is released, like, I'm never actually going to catch up just by playing Arena. And I might just, you know, spend some of my excess gold, I guess, to buy packs for the game. Like, I could probably buy 15 packs and still feel pretty safe that I'm not going to run out of money. Anyway, not that interested in Constructed yet, so we'll be happy to stick with things as we are. Thank you for sticking around for this extra long edition of Papa Boris's Happy Fun Time bonus hour, and thanks again for watching. We shall see you next time.